In this video, we're going to go over the installation process for the front lip splitter on your 280ZX. These are available in raw aluminum, as shown here, and powder coated black. So let's get into the installation. So there's an assortment of hardware that comes with this kit so you can get it installed on your ZX. There's four of these L brackets. Two of them will go to the splitter and two will attach to the car, which we'll show you in a little bit. And it's going to come with two of these turnbuckles. And so one side, which in this case is this side, is right hand thread, and this is left. So that way, when you turn this, they both tighten or they both loosen. And so the first thing you're going to need to do on both of these is you're going to need to unthread the right hand thread eye bolt. And then there's going to be some 5/16 jam nuts that are going to be in the kit. So you thread that on, and there's also the M8s, which you saw me right there try to grab an M8 and try to thread it on, but it didn't work. So make sure it's the 5/16, and then you'll thread this guy back on. And the reason that we're putting that jam nut on there is so that way, once you get this adjusted to where you want it, you can thread down this jam nut, put a wrench onto this, and tighten that. So that way it locks this turnbuckle, the center portion, in place, so that way it can't loosen. So that's what we're doing there. Then you're going to put one of these brackets in this hole on both sides, and there's going to be an M8 bolt that's going to come up through the bottom, some of these 5/16 washers, and a nut. Put that in there, get it started, but don't tighten it down. And then the turnbuckles themselves will mount onto the T portion, and there'll be another M8 bolt and some of these large fender washers. So you're going to run it and put one on the back side, and then you're going to have your M8 nuts that are going to be here. So you're going to get that positioned into place and on both sides, and once we get that done, we're going to start to position the splitter into place and go over some of the rest of the mounting. So now here we are underneath the 280ZX, and this one's obviously powder coated, and we've already got this one installed. But the first step to installing it after we get those angle brackets and the turnbuckles loosely put into place are these two guys right here that are M6x16, and you've got some of those fender washers that will thread into the core support. And so we'll thread those in, not all the way, and that helps to hold it into position. Turnbuckle situation on the sides, because you can see in here the bracket and the M8s, and this is coming across. And so over here is where that other bracket would go. And you could install this now, or if you wanted to do it before you put the splitter in, you could get it put in position as well. It's still pretty easy to get to and reach. So you can see these are our aftermarket tow hooks, but on the OEM spot, like, you don't even necessarily need the tow hook here, but just utilizing this hole, for some reason you don't want to, you can drill your own hole, position this bracket somewhere in the vicinity of this area. And so that gives you an idea of how that positions in there. And we already have this adjusted, and then our jam nut tightened down. So I do like to get that installed generally kind of as the next step, but still not completely tightened down. The next thing I'm going to look to is this right here. These holes in the splitter are mount underneath the OEM air dam, but there's not a hole in the air dam itself right here. So once you have your splitter adjusted left, right, front, back, because there is slotted holes and it does have adjustment, and you like the way your gapping and everything looks, then you would actually drill through this. It's kind of hard to see because this is all powder coated black, drill through this little lip right here on the inside, so that way you can secure this. In our case, we have it going right through this where this brace ties in, so it's kind of a double sheet metal point where we can tie that together. And so with that hole, I like to use a 7mm drill bit, but really you could drill the hole through this inner lip with anything that's close to the M6 diameter. And so if you don't have like a metric drill, that really doesn't matter. But while you have that, you're also going to want to drill these guys. So along the front, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 holes that come in the splitter. And those holes are intended to line up with holes that are in this air dam. Those holes in the air dam, however, don't exist yet. So what I did on this is I took my 7mm drill bit, but again, anything that fits that M6 bolt, and I drilled through the bottom. There's a gap here, there's just an air void, and up through the top right here. And then what I did is I used some of the included M6 by 70mm, looks like this, and you run it down through it, and then use a fender washer lock nut on the bottom. When you do tighten these though, you're not going to want to over tighten them, because if you just keep cranking, you could start to crush the sheet metal on this air dam. However, it does make it extremely rigid. I'm pulling down on this, and I don't want to pull down much more because it's going to cause too much rock for me to feel super safe with it up on the lift. So again, after I get this positioned and the splitter where I want it, then I'll drill the holes through the hole. There's a hole here in the splitter that'll help guide. You want to drill straight up, and you'll get the hole here on the top side where then you can drop the bolts, get all that secured. And so that's going to tie that whole front section to the air dam. You've got this guy here that we showed on the other side too, that ties this back corner. And then you have a lot of your load that's being picked up from these turnbuckle supports to really just pull this whole splitter up into the air dam and have it be nice and rigid. So as you get all of that put into place, I like to come along, I like to snug up all these, get this tightened up, and then I'll come back through and with these turnbuckles, and then that way I can adjust the turnbuckle to get the amount of tension that I want that's holding up on the splitter itself, and then get all of the hardware tightened down and locked into place, that's holding in those brackets and holding in the turnbuckle, as well as getting our jam nuts locked in. And then after that's all done, you're left with your lip that is extremely solid and mounted on your 280ZX. These are available from Skillard.com.